Hello, hello. How's everyone doing today? I hope you guys are having fun. Sorry, I wanted to try something new and obviously fell flat on my face. I got a few messages saying that the sound wasn't coming through. So I am going to post a link of the video I was trying to share with everybody, so you can view it whenever you have the time. So what is Destination CEO? Destination CEO is a social enterprise where a large group of mentors have come together, and we support the Canadian job journey for most newcomers, new graduates, and any job seekers that are currently looking for it. I did say today we have a special session with two of our fantastic mentors. One of them is having a little challenge getting connected, but let me bring Biju Misra with me on the floor. So Biju Misra, how are you this evening? Hello, hello.
Hey, happy Friday. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a rough week, but a good week.
Did you say rough or tough?
Both.
Both.
That builds character. That's what we should be all about. Difficult times build character.
Difficult times build character. So I see that today we were supposed to have Seena with us, and she is having some technical difficulties. I do hope that she's able to join us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's still trying.
She's still trying?
Yeah, she's still trying. Yeah, but yeah, we can start and she'll catch up.
She'll catch up. Awesome. So you said rough and tough. So what was so tough about it?
Well, so working remote can be tough, especially if you have distributed teams and teams across North America. I think different people deal with working from home differently. And if you look at, there's just psychological impact that comes from isolation of a different sort. So working through that can take time, right? And it's important to have a routine, a schedule. I have friends who are looking for work. I tell them the same thing, like get up in the morning, just try to follow a routine. Otherwise you go crazy, right? Especially if you can't go out, you can't meet people. So yeah, those things kind of take their toll for sure. So yeah, that's what made it tough, but all good. I think it's a new way of working and learning, and yeah, that's okay. It's Friday.
It is Friday, and we are having a happy hour today.
Yes.
What did you and Seena, when she does join us, have in mind for today?
Well, all week, every day, you've been having mentors who kind of come and guests you've been talking about, and
yes.
I think you've been having these takeaways, and I watch and I participate as much as I can.
Yes,
so we thought that today maybe Seena thought it should just be anything related to job search. Because a lot of times, a lot of conversations go on and maybe people don't get to ask all the questions. So today we thought, sure, we can keep it open. It's a challenge for us too, to answer any question related to job search and job related. So between the three of us, I thought we could pull that off. That's all, nothing else.
Let's hope the third person does join in. Well, we do have a good crowd today, and this has to do with, I'm pretty sure, your charm and Seena's beauty, because they see me every day.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's not anything we have to offer. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we'll soon find out.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. One of our core members from way back when, Manas Gambhir, is on the line today. Hi, Manas. It's so great to have you. I didn't know you were watching, but this is so cool. And Manas has a question for you. Manas has had a phenomenal journey. And if I were to introduce Manas, he was my student at Humber College, started off started helping me with Destination CEO as we were thinking beginning of starting Destination CEO was Manas, Ben, Naveed, and a couple others, Jay. Manas started his career, and then he grew, and today Manas is an agile coach, and not very sure where you're at, Manas, but your Instagram's fantastic. And Manas's question today is, what are the challenges your team has faced or are facing psychologically, and how are you helping them cope up with these challenges?
Yeah, a good question and a common problem. So I think one of the consequences of remote working permanently in many ways has been that it's identified that people actually like a degree of social interaction, right?
Yes.
And because maybe not everybody has a routine, you tend to work longer, right? You tend to feel more disconnected. So what I've done, I have teams across North America, as well as a team in India, the providers we work with. So within my own management team of 8-9 people, we've started meeting every day, end of day, from 4:30 to 5. That's like a repeating thing. And part of it is to just making sure that, I'm not holding up anything. So there's a selfish motive there, but also to make sure that they're okay, their teams are okay. If there's anything we have to do, we're able to action it quickly. That's one thing. The other one is we found that, our weekly management meeting has now become simplified because we're trying to cover all these things, but a lot of focus on how people are feeling, how productive they are, but also giving people the space to just be, right? And understanding that a lot of things happen at home. Everybody's at home. There's families, there's kids, at lunch, dinner, whatever may be the case. Really enhancing our own style to just really focus on outcomes like we used to before, but not really worry about how people do it, but what it is they're doing. And the fundamental belief that work is what you do and not where you do it. And giving people that freedom to say, it's okay. And if you don't feel like, you want to take a 2-hour break, go ahead and do it, right? That, I think, has made a lot of things easier for us. But yeah, some managers in general struggle with that kind of style, but it goes back to just trusting people to do their thing and acknowledging the fact that we're in different circumstances. And especially, Manas being agile coach and so on, there's always this interest to have everybody together, right?
Yes.
Sure, that works, right? But maybe that's not a requirement anymore. And I think how people manage is different. Is that, let's agree on what needs to get done, and you just do it whenever you want to do it. You want to do it 2 in the morning, go ahead, if that makes you happy. And we've been able to kind of cope through that. So yeah, be flexible, be understanding, have faith and trust, and just try to make the best of what you have.
I'm glad you mentioned faith and trust, because I've been seeing a lot of posts about micromanagement of people who are working from home.
Yeah, don't do that. One is, you can't scale that way. It's very difficult to manage that way because you will obsess all day trying to figure out what people are trying to do. And that it doesn't work. And I've been blessed in my career with people leaders I've reported to who've never micromanaged me. I hate it. And I know how it feels like. So I can tell you from experience that it's not a good feeling. And if you can manage yourself, be happy. Right now in this time, just manage yourself and lead with conviction. Just engage people, call people in a team randomly, just ask them how they're doing. Those things will go far in just getting people to be more productive, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Biju, if you were to look back at your 20-year-old self, and I know this is coming a lot, that, if only I had time, I would do this, and I would, if I could go back, I would turn the clock and do it this way. Well, what advice would you give yourself 20 years ago? Because we do have, I have to say, we have a pretty decent house today, and I'm sure that dealing with social distancing and COVID and Corona and all of these things, there are many 20-year-olds thinking, "Oh my God, how am I going to overcome?" And you've had some very major challenges as you started your journey, right? At one point, you said you were working as a waiter, and
when I graduated from university, in the United States, I graduated in the middle of a recession, a serious recession, where it wasn't really that great. And until it kind of I started working at a startup, then I went into co-founding and so on. Yeah, it was just about, working 100, 110 hours a week, just anywhere there could be money. And that's what I would say is that, I think even on other platforms, I've said, hustle like there's no tomorrow. That's what I would say, right? If you're 20, 22, 23, like, don't worry about it. Just get in and just do. And do whatever comes your way, right? Like, I think, if you've never done sales, do sales. It's a fantastic thing to do because you learn how to influence, you learn how to lead, and you're going to struggle through it. Like, whatever comes your way, it's all will build to your rich experience that you leverage later. And when I look back now, would I have done anything different? Not really. But all those experiences I had, even as working with partners to start something, working in a first startup that I still keep in touch with. Actually, some people I reached out to, like 25 years, we're still talking about stuff. I think those are good experiences because they exposed me to so many different things to do. And the agility that comes with it, which is instead of living in the problem, like, do something about it. I think that was probably my biggest thing. And I would still encourage that, right? Even within teams, it's important to vent. It's important to be angry about things. It's important to yell and scream. But that's like 5 minutes of the hour, right? The other 55 minutes, get on to solve the problem, right? Because only you can solve the problem and get out of it. So, yeah, I would probably say maybe I should have done more of it. Maybe I should have exposed myself to more opportunities, but it's just situation and circumstance. Yeah. Do what empowers you. That's what I would say.
Do what empowers you, and don't let this mental.
Yeah, do what empowers you, and what empowers you is right. Those are the things I would say. Like, don't worry about everything else. The rest of it just doesn't matter. It doesn't.
Like, time will take care of itself, right?
Or it just doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't. If whatever you're thinking about doesn't solve the problem or get you out of a situation, then you're just living in it, right?
Yep.
So just move and do something. Talk to people. Reach out to people. Yeah.
Tanuja Misra, don't know if that's a connection, but she has
No connection.
No connection. All right. Well, Tanuja Misra has a question. This new uncertainty has been set to become the new norm. Do you think this work from home might become the new way of life? If yes, how do you get over the cabin fever?
Sure.
Excellent question.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. If you look at all the research that's happening, you listen to all the major corporation leaders and so on, including the company I work for. I mean, I think you'll hear a common theme that says senior leaders have realized, or their eyes have been opened to the fact that this is a model of work. That people tend to be more productive. People could also have flexibility that they want, and that focusing on the output is more important than how people are doing it, right? So that's one part. And there are a lot of companies who have now said, I mean, I was reading a news story, even in India, Tata Consulting Services said 25% of the workforce will permanently work from home by 2025. There's a cost saving to the company for sure, right? We feel the cabin fever today because you're restricted to move out.
It's not the norm for you right now.
So that's going to change, right? So think about a world very soon right? This circumstance where you are able to do everything you were doing before. Would you really not want to work from home if you have that flexibility? So you feel the cabin fever today only because you're like in the house and you can't go out. You don't have a lot of choices, right? However, even now, I would encourage people who feel that to reach out on a daily basis and not wait for people to reach out to you, and just talk to people. Connect with people you haven't connected with. Talk to friends you haven't talked to, right? And everything is kind of going video. Use it. Apps are now video. Like, leverage it, right? That's what I would say. So that's one of those things where it's like, I feel this way. What do I do? Well, that's kind of in your hands too, right? Don't wait for everybody else. Reach out, talk to people. In the last 4 weeks, I would say, I've had more people on LinkedIn that I've been connected to who've talked to me like on phone than ever before. They're like, hey, can we just talk? I'm like, sure, right? So just the way you are feeling cabin fever, somebody else is feeling cabin fever, right?
Yes. Yeah. I shared that funny story that one of my friends got a call from somebody who said he was her phone neighbor only because their last digit was different, and he was working from home, sick and tired of working from home alone. So he needed to connect with somebody, a social contact. So I think one of the first takeaways when we started our LinkedIn Live was daily make one social phone call at the very least, and make one new connection, so that whenever this ends, you've connected with a bunch of friends that you haven't spoken to in a long time, and you've made a bunch of new connections, which you never know where they could lead, right?
Yeah, and the other one is I found is, even for me, you have to break the monotony of it, right? So pick up something you thought you wanted to do and just dedicate some time every day, even if it's half an hour, to break the monotony of what you feel, right? Just because it's good and spring is coming, summer will be here. There are lots of things to do, right? It may not be exactly what it is, but I think the last thing you want to do is this will change, right? And working from home will become a norm, just the way studying online is now a norm, right? 3 years ago, people were like, online university, what are you talking about? Why would you go to online university? Guess what? Now you're like in a place where all you do is online university, and it's equally accepted, right? So I think in these moments, I think situations in life and circumstances happen for a reason. In that, if you need to be courageous, then you're put in a place where you are forced to be courageous.
Yes.
Right? If you need to be resilient, then you're put in a situation where you're forced to be resilient. So, I would say embrace that moment and be all the things that you want it to be, and be really good at it. Right? But not let the circumstance stop you, whether it's job search, whether it's where you're working, whether it's connecting to people. Don't let external things control you. It's not worth it.
That's very true. Guess what? I think Seena's just connected. She's just adjusting her webcam. Seena, as soon as I see you, I will add you to our stream. But let's address, the next question is for the three of you. So as soon as I get Seena on live, we can get to the next question. Okay. And the next question is from Joel. Hello, Joel. How are you doing today?
Yeah, Joel, I'm still waiting for your post on LinkedIn. That's what I have to say.
Me too. Seena is connected, but all we can see is a bulb. Oh, there she is.
I'm back.
Hello. How are you?
It's a little choppy, so that was technically fun. I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
I apologize.
I'm glad you're here.
Okay.
So a question?
Yes. Well, welcome on the stream, by the way, Seena. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, we have a question from Joel. So Biju asked him a question before he could answer the question, because this question is Seena, Meena, and Biju. Great seeing you. Great seeing you too. virtually, having teams engaged and making sure that they communicate well with each other is the key for the success of any project. How do you promote this in these days that business is being driven remotely?
Just the way you would have done it otherwise, right? I think remote and location in a global economy is probably doesn't mean much anymore. So if you're having meetings every day before, I have meetings every day today, right? Like, don't let the location kind of stop you. If you can do video, that's better, I think, right? But other than that, yeah, just do everything you were doing before on the phone, video, whatever.
Seena?
I am catching up here. I'm so sorry. There's a bit of a delay. So the question again is about teamwork. Was that correct?
How do you promote the teamwork these days, considering everybody's not, so virtual?
Well, I think it's a more intentional connection now, right? I mean, we're on a live stream. So obviously people are using WebEx or FaceTime if you've got iPhones, or Zoom. But I think, reaching out is still reaching out. And I think building connections doesn't necessarily have to change. The fundamentals of, hey, let's pick up the phone and talk. Hey, let's have a video meeting, or, really staying engaged is, it's a little different, but the fundamentals, I think, are still truly the same. So you're still going to reach out to people and you're going to build a connection, and connections can be over the phone or email or on a video stream. So I think it's just a different way of doing the fundamentals of whatever connecting within a team looks like, right?
Mm-hmm. Very true. Yes. And how do we keep engaged with Destination CEO? We're on a WhatsApp group, and anybody can call each other at any time. Anybody can text. We share job leads. We share memes. We share inspirational stuff. So, being engaged, and I hope, Joel, that that's what you were asking. But if not, we have almost an entire hour with these two. So going on to the next question, Sai, how are you, Sai? Sai wants to know, Biju, how do you maintain your daily consistency?
Consistency in what way? Like, in general?
Yeah, I think sticking with a routine, during
it's
this
having
time.
a routine. It's that simple. It's having a routine, right? It's having a routine, following it, putting some variety in it to make sure that you're not bored with the routine if you're like me. But even for me, I found that it's important to have a routine, especially when you work from home, because otherwise the hours blend and the days blend, and suddenly the week is gone, and you feel like you're just constantly in the play. Yeah, but that's intentional. Like, you have to like make an effort to do it, and then it becomes a habit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and for me, who hasn't really had a routine per se, it's been pretty important to kind of get that sorted out in my own head, and doing things like this is good for me, actually. As much as this is hopefully good for everybody else, it's actually good for me. It's therapy for me, because it's a mental break from what I do, and hopefully help people along the way. I'm sure Seena is far more organized than I am, so.
Well, before we go on to the next question, what would be very, very exciting is to hear about the contest. What were you guys talking about? I'd love to know. Everybody here would love to know. What is this contest all about? And I guess we have to repeat it a few
times. Can you guys hear me okay? Sorry, I'm just trying to figure this out here. Okay, so really we want to give you guys an opportunity to have 2 free one-on-one coaching hours with our mentors, or with Biju and I specifically.
I was which mentors?
Sorry. So it's 2 hours to pick our brain, have our time one-on-one, and really help you with whatever you need.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to provide to you guys.
So how do they get that?
Well, you're going to ask, we're going to pick the best question asked, the really most engaging question that's going to help the crawl.
Good. Sounds like fun.
Right.
Maybe I should come up with some questions too.
Right.
All right. So jumping on to the next question.
Yeah, you're not allowed to participate, Mina. You get us for free all the time.
Yes, but you know what? That's a different kind of 101. Anyways, going back to the questions. Gautam. Hi, Gautam. Gautam has a question. I was wondering if you could provide some advice which relates to job interview skills. When an employer asks, how will you approach the 30, 60, 90 first days in a job? Is there anything in particular they're looking to hear? That's a very interesting question. Over to you guys.
Seena does interviews all the time, like me, so I'll let her go first.
All the time. Okay, so I think it's really about having a plan. What are you trying to learn? What's your best way of learning? And the feedback that you're going to be needing on a regular basis. And just what does success look like? And what is your learning style? So is it product knowledge? Is it company policy? Is it getting to know your team? Like, what's your plan of action? Because your success, it is a two-way street. It's what the organization's going to do for you, and then what you bring to the table as this really strong candidate to say, hey, listen, here's my game plan to get up and running. I'm going to, understand what the company's core values are, what they're about, familiar myself with policies and the website and everything, but then product knowledge, pricing, systems, things like that. So what's your game plan to be successful, so that they can kind of maneuver and say, hey, it aligns with what we would want in the first 30, 60, 90 days.
Yeah, so I would completely agree. And like when we go through interviews, we kind of ask those questions. And that's more to see, like, have you thought about how you go from zero to value creation and how quickly, right? And actually, there's a book called 90-Day Plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a book called, this is not a bad book. It's a good one to refer. But yeah, you should think about, I think preparing for interview means thinking about those kinds of questions. Like, if I'm asked that, what would I say? What would I say in the first that I would do in 30 days? And how quickly do I think I can create value so that people are like, wow, this is the right person that we hire?
And I think answering that question is going to show, your participation and how you think you're going to ramp up. So it's not just a matter of like, yay, I'm great, get me hired, and then we wing it. It's going to be about, hey, here's my game plan to ensure that I'm going to be a successful hire for you. So these are the things I need. These are the game plan. This is what I've done in the past, which is always a great way to answer a question. So, past performance indicates future behavior. So in my last 2 jobs, these are the ways I've ramped up, which I felt I was successful in. These are the things that worked for me. I learned that I need to tweak here, there, and whatever. And so that you've got some real tangibles to bring to the table to assure a hiring manager that you're going to come on board and really strategically ramp up for them as well, so that they reap the benefits of, this hire and training you, and you're going to pick it up and you're a part of it as well, right?
Yeah, and preparation for that means read the job description. Don't just kind of wing it. Read the job description, really understand what's being asked of you. And then in that, what else would you add that will kind of pique people's interest, right? So a lot of times you give a job description, like, that's like to start. You always look for people who are like, yeah, it's to start, but here's the other things that I can add. And you're like, oh, didn't even think of that. So yeah, reading the job description, preparing for it, looking at similar job descriptions. That's also important because it gives you different ideas, because people for the same job may ask for different things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I want to tweak the contest a little bit. And guess what? As the CEO of Destination CEO, I have all rights to do it. So ask the questions, but what we would like is for you to get a free one-on-one with Biju or Seena. You would have to write a post. And the post would be, what are 3 takeaways, either from today's conversation or conversations we've had this entire week? What are the 3 takeaways that you are going to be implementing in your career right now? And then you would tag Biju, myself, Seena, and the speaker whom you are quoting or whose takeaway you're taking. So we can engage that particular speaker or that particular mentor and provide you with that additional hour that we can. So I will repeat this contest again and I will post it, but it would be fantastic. And you would write a little bit about who you are. So when we talk about the credible introduction, and if you don't know what a credible introduction is, most of my students and the participants know, but if you don't know what a credible introduction is, I have a video on Destination CEO's LinkedIn page specifically talking about what it is and how to create your credible introduction. What you're going to gain out of that is not only the 1 hour with these mentors, but also you have thousands of opportunities to increase your visibility. Again, between us 3 and the other mentors, we do have thousands of connections. So when you tag us and you tag Destination CEO, your profile is going to be visible not just on our feed, but also our network's feed. And you are definitely going to get a comment from them. So that is the contest for today. Are you guys in for that? Biju, Seena?
Yeah, absolutely.
Better tweak. Good job.
Right.
Thank you. All right. So next question from Joel. Biju, what are the key challenges you face throughout your professional career while leading a team, and how did you overcome them? Oh my God, Joel, you're on a roll. He looks like he's going to be a winner.
He wants to win.
He wants to win. Well, I just made it a little tougher.
There's some, I think I face the same things probably lots of people do, common things about, how do you align the team's thinking, what it is that you want to get done and what needs to get done, and making sure that people have a clear understanding of it. I think in the initial, when you kind of start leading teams, you kind of think it's all about you. I think that's generally a shift you have to make fairly quickly, because if it's all about you, then it'll only be you who'll be doing the work. So that's the second one. And the third one I would say is just general engagement, of getting to know the people on the team. Not in terms of the work per se, but who they are and what makes them happy, and their challenges in life, and seeing how you can connect to that and help them in that process. So I think those 3 things are probably common around communication, engagement, and the work. I think the last thing I would say is, I think if you lead a team today, or at least that's been my philosophy, I think your success is when all the team members leave you and they go somewhere else to a better job. Right? And there are lots of people on team leaders who hold on to people because it becomes about their safety. And I would encourage people to think the other way, is that your success you should measure by how many of the team people have left, gone to something better. Because that means that the things that you thought were important and the behaviors you thought were good were actually propagating through the ecosystem, which is, I think, probably the best compliment you can get. That's what I would say. I don't know, Seena?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, it's just really about removing ego when you're leading a team, and understanding that you're all in this together, which is a very common theme in my world here. But I think it's just knowing that looking at servant leadership, and they're not here for you, you're there for them. So in the big picture, if you start to see them evolve and grow their career and do better, you're doing the right things.
Yeah. And there's a level of tough love you have to put for the things that you think are important, because you're also paid by the company to get things done and move things forward and have good judgment and manage risk. And that's there as well, right? So I think that's why leading is so tough. When people are like, I don't know what that leading business is, it's tough. It's tough because not because you actually produce material per se, it's because you influence a lot trying to balance this within what the organization wants, within what people want, in there somewhere with the things you want. And that's tough, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
And I think the difference is, sorry, Mina, like you could be a supervisor and manage people and delegate, or you could be a leader. And, you know, there's a reason why being a good leader is tough, but we always know when we have them and we really want to follow them and learn from them. So, you know, it's bigger than just do this task, do this report, I need this deadline, right?
mhm. Very true. Ankita has a very interesting question, and I'd like you guys to answer it. Biju earlier said that he's been very active on LinkedIn and has had a lot more conversations now than he's had before. So Ankita's question is, do you think people are open to this interaction, or are they really tired of getting this, these digital communications and constant requests to connect?
My my top of the head answer would be doesn't matter, because the people who are won't respond, right?
People who are
will respond.
yeah.
So I think maybe that's all that matters. I'm sure people are it just depends on people's personalities and what they want. Me, I don't mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure people are, but I don't know. That's my answer. Just try it.
I think also it's if it's an intentional reach out, if there's strategy behind it and there's a real connection versus you're just like add and see what happens. And then who cares, right? But if you're really trying to build a connection with somebody, which is what we're supposed to be doing on LinkedIn, then the right people won't be tired of it, and they're using it for the right reasons, and building their network and helping you and getting to know you is and you getting to know them, so it's a two-way street. The right people wouldn't be annoyed by that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's a fantastic question from Julia. How do you impress someone you don't know when you send a connection note? Ooh,
We'll let the LinkedIn expert answer that one.
Yes, I was about to say that's so totally Seena's forte. Go for it, Seena.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the question. Sorry, because I it's getting cut in and out. So what was the question, Mina?
We are behind. It depends on which stream you're watching. So Julia's question is, how do you make a great impression, or how you impress someone that you have never met, you don't know at all, by just sending a connection request, a connection note? So the note that you talk about, how do you make a good impression?
So I think one of the key things is, first and foremost, please read someone's LinkedIn profile before you message them. There's a lot of information in someone's LinkedIn profile that you can learn about them, find a commonality, be genuine, be who you are. But I don't know if it's about, excuse me, impressing someone. You don't know this person. Like, you shouldn't worry about what they think in that sense. You don't need their approval. It's just about, hey, this is who I am. This is who you are. I see a commonality, or I'm really interested in this. And being genuine and personalizing it is what makes all the difference. It's very easy to just, click the connect button, and then you get the generic, John Smith wants to join your network, and it's accept or ignore. So then that's just rolling the dice, right? But if you really wanted to connect with somebody, I would say your first question would be to yourself, why? Like, what is it about this person on LinkedIn that stands out to you and that you want to build a connection with? And then, kind of go from there. Is it just to add your numbers, or is it they're company that they work for? Is it the career development you've seen? What is it that is sparking that interest that makes you want to be in their network, and then build on that when you do your first message to them?
Knowing Julia personally, she's extremely impressive. So, but then I know her personally. But that's how you get to know people, right? Is when they connect with you. So give it a shot, Julia. Biju, did you have any?
No, I
comments?
really agree. I think what Seena said before, I think you have to be intentional about it. There has to be something more than just, because I think like fakeness will come through. That's just kind of how life is, right?
Yeah.
This notion of fake it till you make it just actually doesn't really exist, because eventually the people catch up to you. So, yeah, I think it's good to have 100 good connections than 100,000 bad connections. Right?
Yes. Tanuja has another question. Tanuja Misra, there's a school of thought that this is the time to stay put and survive both physically and career-wise. Would like to hear more about your perspective on this.
Stay put, as in
the job.
Stay where you are.
Yeah.
Stay where you are. So Seena says stay where you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no. That was just me clarifying for Biju. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not her comment, Tanuja.
Yeah, so unless there's like some overwhelming offers everybody has on the table, I think you should stay where you are. I think you should stay where you are until the near future. If you're not liking where you are, again, it goes back to if there's an offer on the table or not. If there's not an offer on the table, keep looking. Part 2, upskill, learn things, connect with people, use that, and make the most of what you have, right? That's what I would say. In a time when people are getting laid off, like, I don't know, it's probably not, unless there's something concrete. I wouldn't, but that's me.
I think it depends on why you're thinking of making a move, right? And is it a toxic environment? Are you miserable? Are you being harassed? Is it really, really bad that you need to get out? Then your overall well-being, maybe it might be better for you to leave. I recommend, in almost all cases, to please get a job first before you leave a job. And it's an interesting time. Hiring has not stopped altogether, but it has slowed down. Start dates are getting pushed out, and everyone's just trying to do the best. Like, you guys, candidates, hiring managers, corporations, there's no COVID 101, here's how you run your company in this world, manual. So you got to make sure that it's the right move for you, and it's the right time, that the company that you want to go to is growing, or they're in a good industry that can thrive in what's happening right now, and that you can be confident that your job will start. They're doing well, they're hiring, whether it's their logistics right now, and logistics is still, we need logistics, or if it's healthcare, if it's things like that that make sense in this COVID world, then sure. But I would be doing a lot more homework about the organization they're hiring, how much have they slowed down, what are their anticipated, when they think things are going to ramp up, what's their revenue, look at their stock, look at a lot of things before you really think that this might be the time to make a move. And while we should kind of always do that, I think we take that for granted. But right now in this new COVID world, you got to really, really do your homework, so that if you're going to make a move, be confident that it's a long-term good move for you with a little more stability.
Tanuja, you may be interested in attending our session. So tomorrow, Destination CEO is having a very special Zoom class, which is open to everybody that is interested in joining. You have to, though, sign up at Eventbrite to receive the link. But it's about how to interview your next manager, to make sure that the person that you're working under is somebody that you can really look up to. And I would like to say, since you said you want to hear all 3 of us, I'd like to say be really cognizant, because there is going to be a wave of layoff coming once everything settles down. And if you're a new employee in a company, chances of you being laid off are much higher. Recently, a friend of mine left a very large company to join another very large company in her dream job. And unfortunately, the day after she resigned, after she received her offer letter, she resigned from a previous company. The day after she resigned, she received an email from the new company saying, as of immediate effect, they are not going to be moving forward with any new employees. So not only did she lose her previous job, but she also lost her new job. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because you need to be ready. If this situation does happen, then you need to be open to what's going to happen. You shouldn't have any regrets of leaving. So really be mindful. But at the end of the day, it's a choice you need to make. So please join us for our session tomorrow. It's going to be at 12 o'clock, not at 7. And it's not going to be a live session. So make sure you sign up. Hi everyone else. There's been a lot of questions are coming in, and guess what? We're already almost an hour into the call. But because Seena couldn't log in for half an hour, we will extend it a bit if that's okay with the speakers. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Jatin Madan has a question. Things to avoid while working from home.
Wow. One is, if you get a routine and stick to it. So avoid not sticking to a routine. That's what I would say. And avoid distractions when you are at home, because there's many, as much as you can, right? Like try to make the best of it, fully knowing that things happen. And avoid self-imposed isolation, right? Like make an effort every day to reach out to people. You'll feel better and they'll thank you for it. That's what I would say. Yeah.
If I could add, if there are little things that you would have done in the workplace that you could still do at home, for instance, I'm in the construction industry and we have a morning stretch as a part of our toolbox talks every morning. So I know it sounds silly, but like I get up, I actually put real clothes on. I do not walk over to my laptop in my pajamas. I do a morning stretch. I have pockets where it's like, I'll have my tea, I'll do these things. And then I might take more breaks to reset because we're self-isolated, so it's hard. But I think it's more so about trying to maintain some semblance of, this is my work day. Now my work day is done. And then this is my personal time, like you would, minus the morning commute. So having structure, having routine, staying connected to people are kind of the more of the positives. So the opposite would be like, don't do those things. Don't just, get up and start working and kind of lounge around. There's a lot of memes about how we're kind of like living in our PJs and, all of that stuff. But, it's a really hard time and you want to take care of your mental health. And part of that is structure and routine. So there's some normalcy in this very not so normal COVID world.
Thank you, Seena. Thomas Jacob has a question for Biju. This is a great time, Biju, to reskill, upskill, and take up new certifications and courses. If I've completed a few new courses in a new direction, how do I convince a new employer about my credentials and results?
I think you have to have, I would say, look at that new area and see what in transferable skills you can connect to, right? So certification things will be fine, but I think every area, every career has some common things that people look for. You may start at a different level only because you're not in that domain, but that doesn't mean that if you've gotten certified and there's some common skills that you can bring to the table, that you wouldn't necessarily get the job. That's what I would say. So what have you done that you can move and show the connection to something new that people say, oh, okay, I get it. You may have, even though you did it somewhere else, I can see how that can be applied to the job that you're applying for. And yeah, you have the certification and stuff. But that's kind of how I look at it. But Seena, opinion?
Well, I think that if you're upgrading or you're getting new skills, like, you know why you did it. So you should be able to convey to somebody like, hey, I've done these things in this career. I'm pivoting here and I'm upgrading or I'm taking new things. And that's going to show continuous learning, intellectual curiosity, commitment, organization. So there's a lot of transferable skills that you can also promote beyond the tangible skills of your course. So it's really how you position it and how you sell it. You're always selling yourself. So what's the value add that you took these courses? And then explain that to whoever your audience is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you don't get that job, move on to the next one.
Right? All right. Jumping on to the next question, because it's almost 8. Libin Joshua says, first impressions.
Companies spend more money doing it only because they're full-time employees. And if you look at just the benefits, it's just different, right? And so don't be, if you're interested in contract or full-time, those do come up. There are a lot of people who just want contract just to test people out and see if they work out, and they convert them to full-time. Okay. So it's all combination. Seena, I'm sure, has a view on this, because contract or full-time from an HR perspective.
The difference between being on contract versus a contractor, is that part of the question? I'm sorry. It's so choppy. It's hard for me to hear.
It's a contractor to full-time. Like, what's the organizational relationship with contractors? Yeah.
And
yeah, it is really different, right? If you're an independent contractor and you kind of are there for a service, and then once that's done, you can move on. And that's kind of the part of being an independent contractor. And transitioning to being an employee, I mean, that's a choice you can make. It is a difference. And some people really want it and want to be an employee, and other people really like their freedom, right? Project to project, and then I move on. And, the scope of work and responsibility they have is really broad and overall in terms of their career. But other people are like, hey, listen, I don't want to hustle for every sort of gig I get, and I want some benefits, I want some stability, I want a pension, so I want to, transition. And you can do either. It's just really about the relationships you build and sharing that, how can I transition to being an employee here? And for some people, it makes sense. Usually if you're an independent contractor, you have a elevated hourly rate, and that drops quite a bit when you're an employee for all the other things that you get as an employee, right? Which is your benefit package and vacation and pension and RSPs and all of that stuff.
Fantastic. Wow. Guys, we have a lot of questions that we've run out of time, so we're not going to be able to answer. But many of these questions are from our participants. So what I am going to request our participants is to connect with the mentors on Monday. So what's happening on Monday, guys? Monday, May 4th. Monday, May 4th. What's happening?
There's an event. Is this like a quiz or something? There's an event.
And what are you going to do?
Well, there's a lot of chit chat about job search, and there's like a whole bunch of mentors coming. I feel like I'm taking an exam right now. Seena.
Biju, you really got nervous there. You're like, what is it again? I wasn't paying attention. Pass me your notes. Pass me your notes. You know what? We're going to have all our mentors come together and really have an opportunity to talk to you and share best practices. what we've learned in our career, how to kind of maneuver in this new world and keep you motivated. And a lot of the fundamentals of finding a job haven't changed. So we just want to give you the support, give you our time. You're able to interact with us, ask questions, and learn about either the general job market or talking to industry experts and subject matter experts on how do I break into this field? How do I, in my job search, I'm trying to be in finance, I'm trying to be in IT, what advice, so on and so on. So for 2 hours, you have, a wealth of information of mentors that want to help you. So it's a really great event to give back and remind everyone that we're here to help and we're all in this together.
So one of the mandatory requirements of this event is that you have your webcam on and you come prepared with tons of questions. We will start at 7 p.m. sharp because we want to try to close it at 9 p.m. as announced. It is going to be really exciting. More details of the event will be sent out to everybody that's registered. We've had over 120 signups. We are accepting a few additional signups just in case for the no-shows. And please remember, if you don't get in to the event, you can always watch us live stream on our Destination CEO YouTube channel. There are also a lot of videos there from our daily LinkedIn Live to multiple resource videos that have been posted. So please go to our Destination CEO YouTube channel and feel free to watch them, subscribe to them. If you're not able to get into the networking event, then make sure that you're watching it live on YouTube. But we'd love to see you. Okay, so we're going to sign off. Any couple of takeaways from you guys? Biju?
For me, a couple of
takeaways. Wow.
Yes.
I have a really.
You guys have participated in most of the LinkedIn Live sessions, and you've done one yourself. So, what would be one or two takeaways to all of our guests today? And of course, people are going to be watching the recorded session. So, 2 things that you'd love to give to them. 2 tips you want them to follow.
For me, it'd be have a routine and keep connecting with people. So that's one. And second would be believe that you're not alone.
Thank you. Amazing. Seena?
It would be to be gentle with yourself in this time. And it's okay to not be okay sometimes. But, really staying connected to people, a phone call, a text, a video call, like we're all collectively having good and bad days. And that's okay. And just really take care of your mental health and, what you can do to kind of keep yourself motivated. It's hard on all of us in very different ways. It's not a competition of who has it worse. It's, challenges are challenges. And honestly, stay motivated. Like find something that's going to keep you focused on what you're doing. There are a ton of webinars. There are a ton of TED Talks you can watch. There's, we've got our videos on Destination CEO's LinkedIn page. So there's a lot that you can continuously learn. Keep your mind working and focused. And part of being resilient is knowing what works for you and what doesn't. And if listening to the news every single day of what's going on is causing you stress, then you need to limit that and take care of yourself first and foremost. And the jobs haven't stopped altogether. People are still hiring, so you can still keep moving forward. You might not control the pace, but you can still keep moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you. This was absolutely insightful. Thank you, Biju. Thank you, Seena, for your time today.
This is good.
Yeah. So going back to all of you, if you are still here with us, because I don't know if you're still here with us, letting you know tomorrow we do not have a 7 p.m. live. Instead, we are opening our Destination CEO class to everybody that is going to be hosted at 12 p.m. In order to join that class, you would have to sign up on Eventbrite so that you can receive a Zoom link. I will post the link again when I share this video, so you are able to join in. I will be back live 7 p.m. on Sunday with a dear friend of mine from Humber College. Her name is Stephanie Gosin. Stephanie and I work together, or used to work together, at Media Studies, and she's going to be talking about how to get internships for new graduates, how to look into the world of media to get jobs, and she's just a fantastic personality, and you guys are going to love her. So please join me again tomorrow if you can for the class, but if not, Sunday 7 p.m. live for our 30-minute session. Thanks, and wish you all a wonderful weekend.